Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Today I want to talk about the live action Avatar series. I'm going to go through episode 1 and give you like my thoughts about it. And then maybe next week I'll give you a whole series review. We'll see. Let's start off with the opening. I absolutely loved how it showed the Air Nomad's downfall. I thought that was really good. It really showed like Aang's whole backstory, which I think is very helpful for like the rest of the series if it goes the way I hope it goes. I think it will be really good to like see where Aang came from and kind of how far he has left to go. I did like the minute changes that they made as well. I liked how Aang didn't run away. He was just like, I need to process this. Let's go for a walk. And because of events, that walk happened to have him stuck in an iceberg for 100 years. But I like that a lot better than Aang just dipping. I also really liked how close to the cartoon that they went. I started watching the cartoon again after I watched episode 1 of the live action. And it was actually like pretty close. I was surprised. The changes that they did make, I thought were good. Most of them. I thought it was so sad when Monk Gyatso took all the kids and then he was like, where's Aang? Because he missed his little buddy. And also, I don't know, he was just like waiting for Aang to come and save them. And he never did. And Aang seeing him at the end was just all the feels. I do feel like this series would have been better if it was maybe aged up instead of PG, maybe just bumping it up to PG-13, because that way, like, when the Fire Nation attacked, you could have, like, at least saw, like, some of the effects of war. That's one thing I think that science fiction and fantasy is really good at, is showing you, like, the depravity of like mankind in a way that is like lighthearted and funny. And I think the cartoon did a very good job of showing you that. But I think the live action, had it been PG-13, could have definitely like showcased that a lot more. Like it would have been really cool if when the Fire Nation attacked and that monk was like, brothers and sisters, you know, someone just like throws a puff of fire at them and he died. But I did like all the fight scenes. The CGI in this show was so cool. It's definitely everything that I was missing in Percy Jackson. You can definitely tell where the budget went in this show. Again, that's just episode 1. Maybe it goes downhill from there. I haven't seen the rest of the series. But from episode 1, the CGI was on point. I guess I don't really care for how Aang can fly without his glider. Like, I know in the cartoon, like, he does, like, enhance his jumps a little bit. He kind of, like, glides a little bit in the air. But he doesn't just, like, straight up fly like he does in the live action. What's the point of his glider if he can just do that? I also thought that it was kind of weird how, like, Katara and Sokka and Gran didn't notice that he was the Avatar until later because, like, he was glowing. Like, you'd think Katara and Sokka would have, like, mentioned that. Or said, like, hey, this is really weird. I wonder why this happened. And maybe just put their brains together, but it's okay. They figured it out eventually. I absolutely love the accents on the arrows. That's something from the original live action that I actually liked. And I liked how they incorporated it into this one. Although I do like this one's iteration of it much better because it's still like that solid blue arrow like on the cartoon. But yet also the swirls. I just think it looks so cool. And especially when like Aang goes into the Avatar state. Oh my gosh. It's so cool. I love it. I love it so much. Speaking of their looks, the costumes are definitely a little too hot off the press. I wish that especially Aang, Katara, and Sokka's and Zuko's costumes looked more lived in. But it's okay. I don't know why this happens a lot with fantasy shows, but It's just something I've noticed is happening a lot more, where like the costume design team is really good at designing the costumes, but then they don't make them look like they were ever lived in. I don't know, do you guys notice that? Katara and Sokka are so brother and sister. I loved it so much. Even though their banter is a little bit different than it is in the cartoon, I still loved it. I loved how it actually like showed Sokka's more serious side and how seriously he takes taking care of the village, taking care of Katara, eventually taking care of Aang. And I think that as the season progresses, we'll see a lot more of him becoming the goofball that we all fell in love with. But I just love how they're taking his serious side, this is how we get stuff done, I'm in charge, I'm the leader, I have to protect you, that's my job. And I think like part of his growth this season is going to turn into that goofball, and then that's how Katara is also going to turn into the motherly figure that she is. And you can even see bits of those in episode 1 as well. Like Sokka was straight up hilarious. His talks with Aang are just so funny, and I think they're really going to lean into that, hopefully, as the season progresses. It was just so good. I don't like how Zuko looks more like a preteen in this adaptation. Zuko is supposed to be older than them all. He's a teenager, like that's Zuko and Aang's first conversation in the cartoon is, well, you're just a teenager. I really like the sets. I think the Water Tribe was really cool. Like, I really liked how they did it. I liked how all the kids in the village were actually, like, different ages. Unlike the cartoon, where it was Sokka and Katara were teenagers. And then a whole bunch of toddlers. I liked how they actually had a wide variety of kids. Instead of being, like, the comedic, oh, look, he's trying to teach toddlers how to fight. It's, oh, Sokka's actually trying to protect the village. He's trying to do what his dad told him to do, even though his dad didn't really mean for him to do it. I don't know. I just think it was a good change on their part to do that. When Sokka goes against Zuko was just so brave, and then Aang takes over, and then all the little kids just start throwing rocks at them. That was so good. Even though, like, they stood no chance, they still tried. I think it just shows, like, how brave the whole team is, and I just thought that was really good, really well done. And they are not pulling punches with making Zuko the bad guy. Like, his redemption arc in this live action had better be as good as it was in the cartoon, because they are not letting him off easy. They are making him the villain, making him the bad guy from the get-go, which, I mean, is what the cartoon did, but I definitely thought they were going to go easier on Zuko. I definitely did. I just hope his redemption arc eventually is done as well as it is done in the cartoon, because he does have the best redemption arc I have probably ever seen. I definitely liked how they had Aang save himself from the Fire Nation tribe, or the Fire Nation ship, and start flying over, and then I liked how it was Zuko's bolt of fire that crumpled Aang. Even though Aang falling to his death was kind of dumb in my opinion, because they had just shown us how he can fly by himself without needing his glider. So maybe they could have just, like, not even had him flying to begin with. But, like, in the Air temple, like, 100 years ago, before he was in the ice, he was flying, like, off the top of buildings and stuff. So I was like, dude, just start airbending and just start flying. Like, we already know that you can do it in the live action. So that was kind of weird, I thought. Now they wanted us to believe that he couldn't fly without the glider, even though that was, like, the first time it was shown. I don't know. I love Sokka's "let's go save the weird kid." I'm not sure how I feel about Iroh. He's not growing on me yet. Hopefully, episode 2, we'll see more of him, and I'll learn to love him as much as I do his cartoon counterpart. But I loved how they showed Zuko's obsession with not only the current avatar, but the other avatars as well. Just flipping through his book, watching him draw and write. I don't know what he was writing in those books. I don't know Japanese or Korean or Chinese or anything besides English. So I have no idea what he was writing, but if someone could translate that, that would be great. I just loved how it showed how he was obsessed with the Avatar and he was trying to get back his honor, even though he never was going to get back his honor. And knowing how the series goes, I just thought it was so funny how in this iteration, he really believes that he is still the heir to the throne. Oh, you sweet, sweet summer child. I can't wait until we see Azula and Toph in this series. Oh, that's gonna be so good. I loved how Aang, like, kind of taught Katara a little bit, like, without meaning to, or realizing it maybe. Aang taught her how to waterbend, or at least, like, make a puddle float in the air. And then at the very end, Katara saved all their lives by doing that. I thought that was a nice touch, especially since Katara is the one that ends up teaching Aang fire or waterbending. I thought that was a nice touch because it shows like how the whole team needs each other to survive. I just thought that was a really nice touch. And of course, Katara being the badass that she is. I haven't seen this episode in the cartoon for a while. I know that in the cartoon, they find Monk Gyatso's body somewhere. But I'm pretty sure, like, it was, like, away from the temple. And, like, he had killed, like, they had a bunch of Fire Nation skeletons around him. But I thought it was, like, out of the way enough that they had cleaned out the regular temple and, like, patched it up with something, like, maybe not patch up the building, but they had at least, like, cleared away all the bodies. But I don't know, in this live action, they just left some of the bodies laying around, because he was just, like, in the middle of the floor. I don't know. I was very confused because I'm pretty sure that was, like, one of the few bodies that we saw. It was just a little too convenient. Also, like, why didn't anyone go over there and clean up the bodies? Like, I get it. They killed all of the air nomads, but, like, don't the Fire Nation soldiers want, like, their soldiers back home with them? I don't know. Also, how come the Firebenders could fly? It's okay. Continuing on. The Aang in his avatar state looks so good. Oh my gosh. I absolutely loved it. The CGI in at least this one episode is on point. And I do think that they did some things better in this live action than they did in the cartoon. Like, I think Aang coming out of the iceberg was done better in the live action. It's a lot less of a just by luck thing. It was more of a, he just needed someone to bend near him to be able to emerge, and Katara happened to do that. Instead of in the cartoon when it was Katara just made it crack because she was angry at Sokka. I know, I just think that there's a lot less luck involved in the live action one, which makes the whole, like, live action realistic part work better for me, in my opinion. And there were other, like, minute things. But tell me down in the comments below the things you liked better about the live action versus the cartoon, and from the cartoon versus the live action. Talk to you later, guys. I am the Avatar, and this is just the beginning.